Let's talk about the reason Jesus was resurrected in the New Testament. I know to most of you that sounds odd. The reason Jesus was resurrected, it may sound strange because most of the Christian world believes that the resurrection was a divine miracle that proves Jesus was the Messiah, instead of it being a false fulfillment citation by writers that was embellished and carefully developed as time went on. But first, we have to understand the Jewish tradition concerning the resurrection of the dead. In Orthodox Judaism, most sects believe that in the Messianic age, the righteous prophets, saints, and kings would be revived to live in the New Jerusalem, also known as the Kingdom of God. But the Kingdom of God is ambiguously used with heaven also. So the beliefs differ between sects, as either David himself or one of his descendants would rule on the throne forever. Me personally, I agree with the Sadducees because I don't see any of these verses referring to a literal resurrection. And a highlight example of this is shown in Ezekiel 37 in the Valley of Dry Bones parable. Verses 11 through 14 speak figuratively, but clearly about what these resurrected bones are. He said to me, "Son of man, these bones are the people of Israel. They say our bones are dried up and our hope is gone. We are cut off. Therefore, prophesy to them and tell them that this is what the sovereign Lord says. My people, I am going to open your graves and bring you up from them. I will bring you to the land of Israel. I will put my spirit in you and you will live." Verse 24 says, "And my servant David will be king over them." Most interpret this as a descendant of David, while some believe David will be resurrected at that time. Another instance of this resurrection is found in Daniel 12, verse 2, where Daniel is receiving a vision from Michael. He tells Daniel that multitudes who sleep in the dust will awake, some to everlasting life, while others to shame and contempt. What many fail to do is read verse 8, where Daniel again asks for the interpretation of what this means because he didn't understand. And he tells Daniel to go his way because the words are sealed. But many will be purified, while the sinful will keep sinning. The wicked will not understand, but the wise will. Blessed is the person who can wait 3 years and 248 days from the time the daily sacrifices end. So what happened was the New Testament converts, or whoever wrote those gospels, were trying to convince everyone that they were living in the Messianic age. And by Jesus being resurrected and being a descendant of David, then he has to be the Messiah. But here's the problem with that idea. Firstly, the Tanakh tells us that this resurrection isn't for one individual. It's about the resurrection of Israel as a unit. Secondly, Jesus was never an earthly king. Third, the daily sacrifices ended in 70 AD when the temple was destroyed. There was no Messianic age after 3 years. So as we see again, the resurrection story is just another plagiaristic attempt to misapply the context from the Tanakh to give Jesus some kind of credibility to be this awaited Messiah, when none of the events or miracles that Jesus performed was an indication that he was the Messiah. There is no prophetic message that said the awaited Messiah had to individually be killed, sacrificed, die, or be resurrected to usher in the Messianic era. Appreciate you all for listening. Cello the Great.